I would describe myself with these three words: curious, hopeful, daydreamer.
Who are you? Who are you, Sajine? Who are you?
I'm Sajine. I'm a multimedia storyteller. I love telling stories through all platforms like audio, visual, music, and I just love finding the stories in everything. I love stories that speak to different cultures. Just so used to my family being from a whole different place. I remember when I was younger, I thought everybody was Haitian like me until I learned that they weren't. So they weren't speaking Creole at home. They weren't eating griot. They weren't eating rice every day. So I just like telling stories that really show life the way that I live it, the way that other people live it. Like, that's all important to me. I'm curious. I just love to, connect with whoever and see what they're really thinking. The message that I'm trying to convey in my stories is that we all speak the same language, even though we don't think we do. My mom, she doesn't really speak to me in English, and I forget that she doesn't until we're around people, and they're like, "That's not English." It never really is, but it's. What I always search for is a way to translate that, and really carry those idioms, carry those expressions, and just bring them to you. And I think when I am successful at that, that's when I'm like, hey, there's really just a one language, just different ways that we say things and phrase things. And the one language that we all speak is hope, because even the people, I think, whatever like your intentions are, we all know what it is to hope for, another minute, another day. My love language is quality time. I feel like I can never get enough time with people that I love or things that make me happy. I think I am probably the most accurate Libra. Like, I'm always searching for balance, and I don't really negotiate my balance. Loving what I do, I think, and I know that it's possible to do to love what you do. So I think that spoiled me. So it very much has helped me to like very much pursue things that just make me happy and find a way that my time is spent being happy, because that's possible. I think there were times where I was like, you're supposed to hate what you do. You're supposed to go to work and be like, damn, it's work. But you can very much go to work and feel fulfilled and want to do it the next day. I used to have a lot of regrets about not being more outspoken, about maybe not expressing myself more, but a lot of that I've just taken to be a part of my journey. And I just say, hey, I'm going to learn from that and do different the next time. And what I find is that all the right opportunities are always right on time. So everything is supposed to be taken in stride, because being close to what you want to do is not the same as doing what you want to do. You can't really do anything with regret. So you just had to eat that. If I had to choose one, I would very much choose that, like, probably 1990 to 1993, 94 period of, I think, like, Black cinema. I think that's just one of the more creative and fun and colorful times. Like, everybody's just trying stuff out. You see so many different faces doing different things. And because it was still so new, you got to try everything. You got to try, being DP. You got to try being a writer, a director, and you're just working with people who were inspired and creative and wanting to do what you do. So it's free for all. I would have to say somewhere between Omar Epps' character in Juice. I cannot remember his name for the life of me right now. Somewhere between him and and the little girl in Crooklyn, that Spike Lee movie. That's me in a nutshell. I definitely want to be is similar, as close to Wesley Snipes as possible. I just love how when I think about him, I don't think about him just as an action star. I just think about him as being this like super black person that does amazing things and did amazing things in his peak when he was young. So when I think about myself and how short time is and how precious that is, I want to be the coolest, blackest version of myself that I could be. It's how I try to measure myself. I'm gonna say Tupac. I don't want to be, a stereotype, but I feel like I know Tupac better than anybody, even though that's not probably true. But I wrote oh my God, I've written so much about Tupac, and writing about him surprised me. So I think that's why I feel connected to him in that way. Everything that he thinks, he believes, whether he's wrong or right. And I think it's really important to stand in whatever you believe. Okay, he has this line on this Keisha Cole song. It's kind of morbid. It's if I live, if I have kids, will I live to see them grow? You never know. And for me, I always hear that and I'm like, damn, that's so true, because, my dad died when I was younger, and it just made me, when I was 12 actually, so it made me realize hey, maybe I won't see a lot of things. I don't know how old I'll be or what I'll get to do. So it just makes me very aware of my mortality and everything that I do when I meet people, when I unmeet them, all that kind of stuff. Everything has an expiration date. I think I would just have a billion questions for him, and I think the main topic, I think I would just be surprised with who I turned out to be. I wanted to be a lawyer when I was younger, until that moment. But I think I'm more aware of life and more excited to just live it to its fullest. I feel like we really don't know how precious it is. So I'm grateful for that. So I'd probably just be like, wow, I'm so excited. I get to wake up and, find things that I love to do and surround myself with people that I love and things that I love. And I am happy to do that. I feel like that's the only way to make time move how you want it to. And I'm obsessed with making shit last forever. A really good story lives longer than anybody will. So for me, I just looked to really put those stories together, or just learn them even, because it makes me feel connected to something bigger than me, to really understand a story that's been around for ever. That's why when I talk about Hercules or all these old ass mythological figures, I just love that legacy of them living longer than anybody thought they would. I definitely don't plan. I don't outline. I'm not good at that. I think it's better to work, and just do the work, and then take it as it comes, take inspiration where it comes, and then maybe if I have downtime, I plan. But I always find that I probably will change my mind. I think your instincts do better than planning things out. I definitely lack structure in my art. I think I feel better when I could just go in and just give everything and just say, here, it's right there. I'll make something later. But I think the structure is important to come with, because then I think it becomes more of a recipe for you. And it's just, you know what to do and when to do it. But structure is something that I look at as limiting but important. I would want to talk to Hercules. I am obsessed with his story. I love Greek mythology, and I just think he's a really cool figure. It's different sources and stuff of Greek mythology. When you look at it that way, it's he's this kid who has this really evil dad, this biological dad who is just trying to kill him, essentially. So all those challenges were attempts at killing him. So I'd be kind of annoyed too. But being half God, I think, kind of makes you a little bit, it just helps you step to the challenge, rise to the occasion. So I like rising to the occasion, like my son Hercules. But if Hercules is not a real person, I would definitely choose Harriet Tubman, if not. The Harriet Tubman, I am just always very inspired and obsessed with the way that people lived during enslaved times. And I think when I read, I try to read as much about it as possible, and I just want to know how life was for them, like on a day to day. I think a lot of times Black people, like not wrongfully so, but they feel like there's like a shame in that, in like our history. But I'm more proud because if all those people didn't survive, I wouldn't be here. So I want to know what that survival looked like for them. I want to know what the days were like, how you pass the time. Right now in quarantine, I'd be bored as hell at home. So I'm sure like back when there was no TV ever, like there are just different ways to entertain and grow and learn. So I would love to know what that was like for her just as a person. To be love. I feel like, yeah, I want my legacy to be love. Lots of love in all that I do, everyone that I touch, everyone that I meet. I'd like that to be my legacy. Risking to create something, honestly, it's pretty scary every time you go out and you try to do something new and you give it to the world. It feels like your baby and you just put it out there and you just hope it all goes well. It would look like, you know, when you like a kid and you like use all the crayons and the color, you use color all the crayons on top of each other and then you put the black on top and then you know write something and you see the rainbow. I think that's how my life painting would look. If the world ended tomorrow, my story my story would be that I laughed entirely too much at things that I probably shouldn't have, and I'm happy that I did.